Hi, everyone. We are here with Lisa, and I'm so excited for you guys to hear her story today. She lives in New Jersey and bought all the way in Alabama. So I'd love to hear, would love for you guys to hear her journey and how she went through her first property, my coaching program, Successive Rental Properties. So, Lisa, I always say this, but I already know all these answers. So just maybe pretend like I don't when I ask you questions, everybody can hear. But tell everybody, where you live, what you do for work, that kind of fun stuff, and maybe what got you excited about wanting to invest in rental properties.
I live in New Jersey, born and raised my whole life. Central Jersey, a really high cost of living, and I always wanted to own rental properties, but I didn't think it was feasible because of where I lived. New Jersey is a very high cost of living. Houses are expensive, taxes are expensive, so I didn't think it was something that could be done until I met Casey.
What kind of research had you done prior to joining the program? So a lot of people will say that they, watched a lot of podcasts or, did YouTube University or joined a group program. What was your experience and maybe what did you do before joining my coaching program?
So believe it or not, I didn't do a ton of research. I Before we bought our single family home, my husband and I lived in a condo that we owned. And when we purchased our house, we ended up keeping the condo and renting it to my in-laws. So it was something that we were able to swing at the time. We still have the
Mhm.
condo. And I always wanted to do more and looked into it locally, never thought that I could do something long distance. And as I recently had a baby last year and I had a lot of sleepless nights. So I would scroll on Instagram and I would see a lot about long term and long distance investing. So I started to look into that, listen to some podcasts, and
Mhm.
started following more and more accounts on Instagram and learning more and more. And then that's kind of how I found Casey and touched base with you and learned more about your program.
I love it. So what do you think, going through the whole program, you obviously, got your first rental property and all that, but what would you say, what part of the program helped you the most? Some people will join a program and never get a rental and they come join mine and they do. So I'm always curious, like, what do you think was the biggest key factor for you actually getting the deal closed?
Accountability. So you held us accountable. You provided a course, which was great because I do love to read and I love to like have something to refer back to, and some like sample documents that you provide that can help start you on the right foot forward. And but our weekly meetings or whatever they ended up being, due to our schedules, though, that's what held me accountable. That was like, okay, I have to find a property, I have to find an area, I have to do my homework. And it was great because I didn't just pay for something and then not use it like exercise equipment. You were
Yep.
you were
I love
there.
that.
Like you were there holding our hands and being like, no, like, okay, well, you have to do this by next week. And it worked.
Yeah.
It really lit the fire underneath me to be like, no, this is for real. I'm going to get a rental property. Like, we're going to do this.
I love it. So tell everyone about your rental. Like, where was it? What was the little journey? A big portion of the program is always finding a target market and understanding, rental comps and being confident and able to make offers and building a team with a realtor and or property manager. What was that process kind of like for you, and how did you settle on Alabama?
So, one of the meetings that we had, you had mentioned to pick, target markets, and I narrowed down to a few. And then just having discussions with you and based on your experience, which was great because you have a lot more experience than I have, and getting your feedback and insight was helpful in narrowing down from my short list. So I know I was originally looking into a couple different markets, and then we settled on Alabama because of a multitude of different reasons. Cost of living's cheaper. It tends to be landlord friendly, and the cash flow was there. So which is the most important, one of the most important parts.
Yeah.
Um, so settled on Montgomery, and started looking for single family homes and in good areas. Found one, and it was a 3 bed, 2 bath, single level brick, and ended up getting it for 112,000. The seller paid some of the closing costs, because I think that might be typical in Alabama. I'm not sure, but they did pay some of the closing costs with minimal rehab. I think all said and done, it was about like $4,200 in repairs. The house did have a new roof, a new furnace, new hot water heater. So all the big ticket items were already taken care of. So it didn't have to worry about that. So a lot of the rehab that we did were just minor things, like replacing a countertop, replacing bathroom flooring. It was stuff that didn't have to be done, but it was easier to do it when the home was vacant and would help the value of rent and increase the value of the home and rent. So we opted to do that.
So what were your numbers for the property? Would you tell me the numbers?
Yes. So we listed it to rent for 1095, and it was on the market for probably about a month. And we got a tenant, and it was on the market probably the worst time of year. We listed it right before Thanksgiving, and someone moved in right after Christmas. So they signed a 1-year lease for 1095 after my mortgage, taxes, insurance, property management fee, because I do have a property manager handling the location. My cash flow is about $345 a month. So
yeah, all your capex is pretty much done, is done. How's the driveway?
Yeah, I think the driveway's good.
Driveway's good. Okay, so CapEx is good. That's the other expensive thing. CapEx is good. And out of
a lot of the big ticket items.
Yeah, you've got plenty left to pay for, any little things that could go wrong. And you'll find out in the first year what goes wrong, and you'll get to know the property, and you can anticipate for the future. Like, well, this bathroom sink always gets clogged, that sort of thing. But, you'll find that there's really less annual repairs and surprises than you'll think. People want to take out so much money for repairs and stuff. It's like, you don't, as long as you're putting together a good property and you already got your capex are already pretty much new, and you renovated the portions of that, like the toilets, you said you put in new toilets, right? So that is a plus. There's not really, and you got new floorings in some areas. There really aren't going to be huge surprises and repairs along the way. So I think you'll find you're going to get to keep most, if not all, of that $345 a month for the rest of the year, which is really, really great. Yeah.
And it's just going to go into a savings for another property. So
yeah, and that's how the
sooner
works.
I can get another property.
Yes. I love how you listed it in after Thanksgiving, or right? Was it before Thanksgiving? At Thanksgiving, and got a tenant before the new year.
I think it was like literally the day of the Wednesday. Like,
that is so cool. So were you anticipating the rent being 1095, or did you have to drop the price at all?
That's actually what we listed it at. So that's where we started. We ended up doing like a resident benefit package too, which upped it like $25. That goes right to the property management fee. But I wanted 1095, and I got 1095. So that was a huge plus. There was room to go down if we needed to. And, I was thrilled that we didn't have to.
Yeah.
Especially, given the timing.
I know. I mean, I'm always prepared. Okay, if I list a house in November, it might be January or February, just because. So that's really cool. So what are your next steps? You got your first rental under your belt. You're getting your first, technically second rent check next month. What are your goals for you now moving forward with real estate?
I would love to get another property this year, and then possibly, just keep building on that. I would love to offset our income some, so that working becomes more optional down the line, and we can maybe retire a little bit earlier. My husband does hard labor, so it's a little bit hard for him. And as we get older, it becomes harder and harder. So, and we have 2 little kids, so
one at a time, you can do it. Don't forget rental increases. Like over time, you'll be raising the rents, and you'll get to keep more and more cash flow, and with essentially a cheap property at a low $100,000 purchase price. It's really not that much money. You could, if you wanted later on down the road, pay that off and have all of that be
Mhm.
be your net income, and just pay property taxes and home insurance, of which both of those are low in Alabama. So
Yes, they are.
really low, really low. So it's great, you know?
I think my taxes in Alabama for the year are less than 1 month in New Jersey. Like
Oh my
it's
God.
wild.
I love that. I love that. So what would you say, Lisa, is, the biggest benefit to joining the program? Do you think, I guess my question would be, do you think you can now go out and buy another rental without me? Do you think you've been given enough tools and experience and guidance to do it on your own now?
Yes, I think referring back to the course, I definitely feel more comfortable. And now I have a team, that you had helped me find and interview. Well, you didn't help me, but like the
Right,
questions,
right. Told you what to say. Yeah.
exactly, things to look out for, things to ask, what's red flags and not. So I do think that I would be able to do it on my own. I do. There was that kind of security blanket with you. So that, obviously the accountability with your course, but then also having that security blanket where when I got, a counter offer, or I got the contractor estimate, to send that over to you, like send you the inspection report, and have you just another set of eyes, was really reassuring. Someone that sees, like, you see inspection reports all the time, more so than I ever do. You have more experience with just dealing with contractors and looking at estimates and seeing the average cost of certain things. So
Mhm.
having that knowledge, that, like, to be able to go to you and say, like, is this on par, like, is this accurate, like, am I getting,
Yeah.
taken advantage of? That was really great.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, just send me your next one. I'll look at it. Email it to me. You can do that. So, Lisa, last question. If obviously everyone who's watching this is probably thinking, oh, should I join Casey's program or not? Is it worth it? You're talking now to people that are considering joining my program. Would you give them a thumbs up, do it, or would you say no?
I would.
If
And
it's no, no, I'm just kidding.
no,
Joking.
no, I would say, do it. And I'm the type of person where I I hate paying for things that I could do myself. And when I was thinking about your program, my husband said to me, like, he was just like, are you going to be annoyed that you paid for the money and that you could have, and I was like, I totally understood what he was saying, because
Mhm.
that's the type of person that I am. And no one wants to waste money, especially, but there was value to what you provided. And there was that comfort of that you were there if I had a question and I could ask you, and it was quicker than doing all of the research on my own. Like, yes, I could have done it, but I probably would have been stuck in, like, analysis paralysis, you know what I mean, forever. And I probably would have
Yeah.
never moved on a house. We would probably still be in the same boat that we're in now, looking for a property, looking for a market, not never taking that leap. So I do recommend it, especially for people that tend to do things on their own, or want to do things on their own to save money, or, it's just learn something new, because I tend to do that a lot.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much, Lisa. I really enjoyed working with you over these past few months. I'm really proud of you. You got your first rental. I did my job. And if you ever have questions, you can always, just send me an email. And you have the Facebook group as well. You can always ask questions. And if you're interested in other markets, like we talked about earlier, there's plenty of students in the Facebook group who buy duplexes and triplexes and fourplexes in other states. And I know that they would love to help you as well with, contacts and zip codes to jumpstart you with your research and all sorts of stuff. So that's always available as well. But thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate it.
Thank you.